Добро пожаловать на мой канал. Dear viewers, how are you doing? So returning to the previous live and the topic, I mentioned that the first Jewish Republic was established in 1931 in Birobidzhan in Far East Russia. And well, you can see then there is special place among the Russians for them. So basically, no matter how much they say that they are for the Palestinians, it doesn't sound true to me when they say that. Like, and by the way, why has Russia waged wars before in Georgia in 2008? And before that, why were the Chechen wars, in 1994, and then the second Chechen war? Why did those occur? Tell me, what was wrong? So, and well, basically, you start to wonder actually who is fighting whom and why and for what reason. And what I was going to ask you, so why did Russia wage wars in Georgia and also in before that the Chechen wars? Why did those happen? Oh, you would say foreign intervention. Are you sure? And not necessarily. And by the way, so I'm just saying, кто-нибудь говорит по-русски или нет? Не знаю. Все верят по Путину, правда или нет? Он за Израиль, я думаю, что если вы говорите, он за Палестину, это неправда, я думаю, что не могу. Потому что для русских они, не знаю, как сказать. А почему есть война в Украине? Почему? Пожалуйста, объясняйте мне. Объясняйте мне. Извините. Почему есть война? Я хочу слышать от вас, почему есть война в Украине. И, пожалуйста, не говорите на Украине. В Украине, пожалуйста. I really don't like when actually you see the belittling about Ukraine, right? Some Russians belittle the country. And for what? Most of the Ukrainians can speak Russian. Why do you belittle them? You may not speak their language. Привіт, друзі, як справи? Я з Угорщини. You don't speak their language. So they can speak your language, but you don't speak their language. I'm talking about the Ukrainians. They can speak Russian, most of them. But in Russia, how many of you can speak Ukrainian? You see the difference? How you belittle the Ukrainians for what? For what sake? And well, And again, the Zelensky topic is another thing. Yeah, I think the Russians would say, oh, he is, his master is, I mean, the Turkish side. So, yeah. I think there's some link about the Turkish people as well. So the Ukraine war has to do with something with Turkey. Indirectly, I'm saying indirectly. And what do you think? Что вы думаете об этом? Война в Украине это I don't know how to say in Russian, but it has some indirect relation to Turkey. So if you remember the video that Erdogan, Zelensky came to Ankara many months ago to ask for help from Erdogan because the Russian president didn't deem him as legitimate president. The Russian president said, Zelensky is not a legitimate president of Ukraine. Why does he say that? He was elected? Because, President Putin works for Israel. So he must put the dirt on Zelensky, right? And there's a whole lot of propaganda going on to defame Zelensky, right? He's a whatever addict. He is, this and that. And do you believe that? Oh, and the Russian president is an angel. Как ангел. Oh, do you believe that? Well, first of all, no person on earth is an angel. For a start, no person on earth is an angel, for one thing. Second, why does Zelensky get defamed so much? By the Russian side. By the way, the Russian side, there's the first Jewish republic was established in Far East Russia in 1931. Why would they criticize Zelensky then? Isn't that weird? Doesn't it sound weird that they criticize Zelensky? Hold on a minute, it doesn't make sense to me, right? Why would they criticize Zelensky, the Russian side? I mean, in Far East Russia, the first Jewish republic was established in Birobidzhan, in Far East Russia. So, if Zelensky is a Jewish president, why would they be so much against him? Tell me explanation for this. Why? It doesn't make sense. There is some twist in this topic. I want to understand the twist. There's something messed up in this topic. Very much messed up. Something that doesn't add up in this story. Something that makes you think it doesn't add up. Why would Russia hate Zelensky so much if, he is a Jewish president and the first Jewish republic was established in Far East Russia back in the Soviet times? Is it just a fake cover for something else? That basically the enemy they fight against, it's not Israel that the Russian side is fighting against. It's Turkey. But in an indirect way. Does it sound odd? It does, but it seems to be a couple of points support this argument, I think. Those couple of points that support this argument can be the following, like the Syrian war. And you see, in the Syrian war, Russia was for the former regime and Turkey was for the new regime. So do you see the Ukrainian link, the indirect link with the Syrian war? Does it start to fall? The pieces has to fall together somehow, but it's very strange. Sounds strange, but so basically our minds and on TV, the news wants to depict an Islamist terrible, image, and that would be, the evil side depicted. And then there's the good side, and that would be, well, they wouldn't claim it Israel, but they would say it Russia is the good side, the angel. And Israel is behind this project too. And President Putin works for Israel so much. He's so good at convincing everybody that he's for Palestine. Look at his statement. He would support India. If there was a war between Pakistan and India, again in the future, he would support India. And that's another clear view. And besides, before Putin fought the Chechens, and so, and there was also the Georgia war. And why did those happen? Anybody tell me why? I'm curious. What's your view? Especially the Russians, I want to hear from the Russians. So tell me what they teach you in the schools about these topics. I want to hear from you. Я хочу слышать от вас. I'm really curious. Tell me, I don't know your version. The Russian version about the stories. I just want to learn. and so Putin convinces everybody that he's, a good guy in this topic. Despite the Ukraine war, most of the people, yeah, Putin is right. Он правда, он прав. Он прав, извините, он прав. Он как ангел, он как, он лучший, он хороший, какой лидер, and so forth and so forth. So everybody believes him, it seems. And who puts this into your minds that he is the good guy? Isn't it Israel? Obviously, they can't change the narrative into Israel is the good side anymore. They can't change that narrative into your heads, like Israel is the good guy in the whole Middle East topic. They can't do that. But if they put into your mind Russia is the good guy, then they still help Israel. And they have brainwashed everybody. And then the people in the Middle East don't get a better chance at anything because Israel is so smart that they got the Russians at their backing. The Russians are smart. The Russians are not dumb people. They are very cunning and very cold people. They can do a lot of change in history. Russians, they are very effective. I'm just saying, a Hungarian says this. Я из Венгрии, но я думаю такой. It's incredible. Sorry, what? Hello. To a Portuguese speaking person, oi, I don't know how to say, how are you? Voce estas, I don't know, a bomb, like good. Controlled. Yeah, so why do you think Russia is so strict? Who controls it? The the beyond Putin, it's Israel. Despite everything they put onto your minds that no, they are for the Palestinians, do you think that a country which establishes the first Jewish republic in the world, in the Far East Russia, do you think they would go against Israel ever? No way. They would then deny their, you know, they would go against their something, principle they would go against. That's what deceives everybody. People don't know this that much. They don't remember this, in Far East Russia, in Soviet times, there was this Jewish republic. Nobody seems to remember this little detail, but it's quite important. And so it's a clue to which side Russia is on. And we all believe in the mainstream media, no, Russia is for the Palestinians, the Middle Eastern Arab people. Russia doesn't help them. Russia had sent a lot of its own citizens to Israel to enjoy the beaches of Tel Aviv and stuff like that. And Russia has waged war against the Chechens, the Ukrainians, the Georgians. But still, Russia is the good side. Seriously, like anybody understand why do they get so much support, the Russians? If Israel wasn't at their back, they wouldn't be so powerful. And where are, diamond mines also, not just in Africa, but also in Far East Russia, there are diamond mines. So, diamonds, beautiful. So diamond mines are not only in Africa, but also in Yakutia, Far East Russia. So Russia is important for Israel, very important for trade, for everything. And Russia is not for Palestinians. And diamond trade, Russia, is the Yakutia is important for Israel to, a region of Far East Russia that is rich in minerals. And who lives in Yakutia? Turkic people. The Yakut Turks. But they speak Russian and they are part of the Russian Federation, right? So that region is rich in mineral resources, but who controls them? The Russians. So again, the Turkic people get oppressed because it's Israel behind. It's Israel behind that oppresses the Turkic peoples. So in Yakutia, that is rich in minerals in Far East Russia, that's basically the Russians controlling it, and Israel is controlling it. And the Turkic people are oppressed. So therefore the Ukrainians are also oppressed. Now, does it make sense? More about the Ukrainian war? And tell me, Russia is an angel now. It has good PR stuff. Russia has. They make you believe, and the propaganda channels, Atlichny, great. The Russian propaganda channels are great. They make you convinced that they are for the Palestinians, for the oppressed people of the Middle East. And you must support Russia. And Ukraine is evil. And they are really good at their arguments. But who gives the Russians this argument? Who helps them? The Israelis secretly help them. They make Russia powerful in a way. So no sanctions can just beat Russia, right? No sanctions because Israel, the loyalty that's important. It was important in Soviet culture. The loyalty is there. They deny it publicly. No, 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 we are for the Palestinian people, the Arabs in the Middle East. Oh, no, no, Israel is bad. And facade, they are talking, but no action in the real terms. So, what can I say? It's very disappointing. Oh, sorry, I haven't read the comments. Oh, and the Chechens, yeah. Why were the Chechens, there were 2 Chechen wars, guys, 2 Chechen wars. What did the Chechen people do? Nothing. They wanted independence, but they were oppressed. Yeah, now you would say, oh, no, the Chechen Republic was rebuilt, and a lot of Russian taxpayers' money going to Chechnya, as part of the Russian Federation. A lot of, money has flown into the Republic and it has been rebuilt. Yes, it has been rebuilt, but what happened before that? Another story. And the Chechens are also Turkic peoples. So why we Turkic peoples are oppressed? Why are we bad? What makes us bad? My country, Hungary, supports Israel, which makes me feel sad. Do you know why? Because after all that has happened to Syria and Lebanon and many parts of the world, to see a person representing my home country shaking hands with Netanyahu seems very odd. I couldn't, it's like basically submission. Basically, my home country is fully submitted to Israel. It's like publicly, like. So, but talking about Russia, Russia is deceiving the world in the sense that, yeah, they are the good side and I think Russia would claim, oh, they are fighting, actually, like, I heard some comments like Zelensky is like Giuliani, like not just the image, they are similar looking people, like different version, kind of. This argument, have you seen that? Giuliani and Zelensky, it's like, and they were depicted as the servants of the Israel, like the Jews. Actually, are you sure they are the servants of Israel? Especially Zelensky. I mean, why would he fight? Or is it that Putin is causing that Ukraine is falling into the hands of Israel? Because the minerals, the United States would get much part of the minerals, even though they publicly say, it would be equal, the United States would get equal share of the Ukrainian minerals. So like it would not be that the US is, grabbing the minerals from Ukraine like that. Do you believe that? The folks in Ukraine, the average folks, they won't get benefit from this mineral deal with the US. Basically, Ukraine is taken over by Israel, like, and not because Zelensky is Jewish or anything. It's a facade. By the way, why would Zelensky get on well with Erdogan? The Turkish president. Why? Why do you think? And why would he ask for help? Like, when Putin, said, oh, he's not a legitimate leader of Ukraine, Zelensky, talking about Zelensky. Why did he say that? He was elected, despite whatever his past about being an actor, he was elected. But Putin has been president for like God knows how many years, and why? And nobody can challenge Mr. Putin. And is there another country in the world where you cannot challenge something? Israel. Similarity with Russia. You cannot challenge, because if you challenge, you get killed. So, Putin has been president for a long time. And he couldn't. I mean, nobody could take power, in Russia. Nobody else. It's just Putin and nobody else. Oh, well, there was, Medvedev. For a short time, he was president during the Georgia war, but that was a short time. But, Putin has been president of Russia for a long time. Has Zelensky been president for a long time of Ukraine? Not for a long time, since 2019. But Putin says, no, Zelensky has been abusing, his term, and there should be elections in Ukraine. Why? Putin has been president for ages, and Zelensky is not. So why does he give such remarks to Zelensky? Tell me. It doesn't make sense. And by the way, who can be in power for ages without challenge? Only a person who is supported by Israel. Because Israel wants a lot of people to be under submission, and it suits its agenda. That's why they support Putin so much. That's why nobody can arrest Mr. Putin for the Ukraine war, because he has protection from the masters. Israel and the high masters of this world. He has protection. So that's why nobody cares how many people die in Ukraine that much. Because, well, Putin has the good masters, those who protect him. No matter what he does, what he orders, and the consequences of his actions are, it goes unchallenged. Great. And who gets blamed? Zelensky. All the time. He's humiliated. And Israel is gaining while, Russia is, getting Ukraine back. Israel is gaining a lot. And you guys believe that, Zelensky is, like a puppet of Turkic nations, he's a puppet like Jolani, and so he is bad and Russia is the angel. What about the Chechens who, who had endured 2 wars with the Russians? And Putin really, really wanted to crush the Chechens, and, well, so why those things have occurred? And the Turkish people and the Turkic people in the world are oppressed. In Yakutia too, the diamond mines and the high profit, I think it doesn't go to the hands of the local Yakutian people, the Turkic people, Yakutians. It goes into the hands of the Russian state. So yeah, Remember the Soviet times and the classes, first class on the train, second class, and the work. Like, and the submission, yeah, you respect your masters, your leader, and if you ever think something differently, you get arrested and beaten and stuff. Wow. Israel has been very smart, and they make you believe, make you think, oh, the Soviets were the enemies of religion, and oh, Israel, oh, the Russians were the enemies and the Soviets were the enemies, blah blah. Why did then the Russians fight in Afghanistan, and why did the Russians help Indians? And Russia would help India again if a new Pakistan-India war broke out. Russia would help the Indians because Russia is for the Israel, and the master is Israel, and yeah, just it's a covert thing, yeah, for the Christians, whatever. So yeah, tell me why. And the world is in the hands of such people, it makes you wonder, oh gosh, is there a chance we ever get a fair world? No, because everybody is deceived, and it's a good argument of the Israel is fooling you that, oh, the Russians are the enemies. Well, no, you support them. Russia supports you, Israel, and it's a mutual relationship. And you oppress the Turkic peoples because we suspect something is going on that doesn't add up. And the Turkic people in the world get oppressed. I don't know. I started to, it hit me today that Zelensky is a victim of this narrative in such a horrible way. He is defamed so badly. And, well, some say, oh, Zelensky is, the Turkish puppet and stuff like that, like Jolani, and, in Syria, it's the Russians want you to hate both Zelensky and the Jolani. Because actually Israel is behind Russia. But they blur this topic, that you start to hate Zelensky and Jolani. They're very smart. They blur the picture so that you would get the impression, no, you have to hate Zelensky and you have to hate Jolani. They are the extremist Islamists. You have to hate them. But actually, who is abusing the world? Sorry, I can't say his name in Russia. Yeah, wow. It's a deep topic, but it's so twisted that they make you think, like, it's just such a mess. And the pieces are very, the Syrian war and the Ukrainian war has this link. Because Russia got, intervention in Syria, and, well, so this has, links. And, some say, even in videos, they claim Jolani and Zelensky are the same type of thing. Defaming both of them, defaming Jolani and Zelensky, so that you would say, oh no, The Russian president is right. Mr. Putin is right. No, 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 puppet leader should be removed. But actually, Putin is serving Israel. Why do you think Russia doesn't get affected by the sanctions? It just, like many other countries get affected so much, but not Russia. There's some other support for Russia, right? And remember the Ottomans too, the Turkish, Ottoman and Russian wars. Well, Crimea. Why is Crimea so debated? Well, the Russians say no, this is theirs. Crimea is theirs. And Turkey says Crimea is part of Ukraine and the territorial integrity of Ukraine. So this is another key debate. So why Russia and Turkey, or back then the Ottomans and the Russians weren't friends. Obviously they fought wars. And to this day, though there are many Russian tourists, I often wonder, about the people, what they believe, what their intention is. And I think some of the Russians would think, soon this place, will be ours. Like the influence of Turkey will be ours, well, and Russia has a lot of leverage over Turkey. The nuclear power plant is built by Russia in Mersin in Turkey. So Russia has a huge leverage, not only in Turkey, but in Hungary, my home country. So we are affected by Russia so much that with Turkic people, we don't stand a chance. They rule over us. And who rules over us? Russia and Israel. And the Chinese as well. So wow, this video is very sad, deep topic, but I don't stand a chance. And I feel sad for Zelensky. Yeah, he sounds like, of course, what you take from the videos is, Zelensky sounds like a jihadist. He wants to fight the war against Russia. Oh, no, the Russian side is the angel side. Why? Russia fights this frigging war in Ukraine for Israel. And Ukraine's mineral resources get transferred to USA, and USA is a servant of Israel, okay? So who is taking over Ukraine in actual terms? Well, Russia figuratively, but Israel. USA and Israel. So Russia is serving Israel. No matter how much they publicly deny it, they are the so-called enemy of the USA, Russia, but they are the servants of Israel, secretly. And the world is fooled by, the Russians are for the Palestinians and for all the Middle Eastern suffering people. Are they? Are they helping them? Did they help them in the past? And why did the Russians then fight before with the Chechens and so forth, and the Georgians and stuff like that? If they are so good people to help the Middle East, why did they have problem on their own country, like the region, with the Chechens? Why? If there is some reason of everything, there is a reason. But it's very deep, and we have to dig deeply and search for the answers. And the first Jewish republic was established in Far East Russia during Soviet times in Birobidzhan. So Russia has connection with Israel. As much as it denies, it doesn't help Israel. fake, fake, fake. Putin is good at speaking, a good agent, but he works for Israel. On Haroshi, no, on Rabotayat Dilya, Israel. Sorry, I haven't read your comments. I don't like. What do you don't like? Hello. Salam. Yeah, the oligarchy. Yeah, who is behind the oligarchy, guys? Israel. Huge money behind the oligarchs. And yeah, they support Israel. Of course, they don't want their huge money that they accumulated a fortune, from they don't want to give away their fortune, so they protect it by supporting Israel. It's clear. And so the Turkic people and the Ukrainians and everything, we get oppressed by the Russians and Israel. I'm sorry, but this is a very depressing topic. So the Russians have influence in Hungary, in Turkey, and in many parts of the world. And those countries are secretly controlled by Israel as well. If Russia controls something, make sure Israel has a hand in it. So why is it important that Russia is circling on Turkey as well? And it means that actually Israel is trying to circle in on Turkey. So yeah, the big picture is here. And the Islamic stuff, Zelensky, sorry for comments. Cool, dark, what? Dark hair. Yeah, I mean, he somewhat looks Turkic type, Zelensky. So like, well, I also have dark hair, so I'm not Russian. So yeah, basically, and why do Russians have arrogance and coldness in them? You can't easily talk to them that, they don't engage in conversation that much with other people. And why is that? Because it's a cultural thing. First of all, they don't smile much. They act very cold, and you cannot engage in conversation with them that much. And who are other people in the world that you can tell they are quite cold and they don't really love to engage with other people in conversation? Israelis also don't really like the rest of the world. They just want people to serve them, but they don't respect you, like the Israelis. Yeah, some people, line up for serving, Zionist and stuff like that. They get money for it, but actually Israelis don't like those people. I have seen on pages of Zionist, like a lady was advocating for the Jewish people, so-called, Israelis, and she was attacked by Jewish people. So like, and not only the Arabs, not only the Palestinians, I mean, they may have sent her some bad words, but actually even Israel is like, so it's like a weird thing that when a non-Jewish person serves a Jewish person, they still don't get the respect. They may get money for serving them, but they still don't love them. So it's like, it's it's so much noise. I got distracted by Why do you have to listen to something so loudly? Anyway. So I'm just saying the Israelis also don't like the rest of us. Do you believe that a person who doesn't get on well with their neighbor who lives on the same land, do you think they like you? A person from a different country, do you think they love you? They want to persuade you, no, they are the innocent people in this topic and all that, but they don't respect you. You are just a servant to them. If you go to them and, yeah, I will serve you, I will tell you what you want me to tell the world, they may give you money, but they don't love you, they don't respect you. So this world is lacking the respect. I'm just saying we don't get the respect we deserve. We don't get the respect that we deserve. And who is behind this? It suits only the chosen nation, that we, the other people, non-Jewish, we don't get the respect. It suits the Jewish, those type of people who believe that they are the chosen ones. And the rest of us are just their servants. And Russia is helping these people, the oligarchs. So Ukraine is just a poor, nation that, the Israelis want to take their resources. USA mineral deal is about, taking Ukraine's, wealth, money from Ukraine. It doesn't belong to Israel, but they take Ukraine's money. And that's something that we should all be concerned about, like, hey, this is not fair. And who helps the Ukrainians? No one, because Russia has a propaganda machine supported, secretly by Israel, that, you would think, no, the Ukrainians are the bad ones in this topic, and the Russians are the angels. A perfect propaganda machine. Just like in Soviet times. In Soviet times, a Jewish republic was established, the first one. That we barely hear about this one. Just only that, Israel was established in 1948. But the Soviets and the Russians both help Israel. But they tell you publicly, no, we are the enemy of the USA. I don't believe that. It's not the enemy. It's deceiving the world about the truth. You don't help the Middle Eastern people. You help Israel to gain more land. Syria, same topic. But yeah, is it? So this is my question. What do Russians believe about the Syria case? Tell me. Пожалуйста, пишите комментария под видео. Пожалуйста, пишите комментария. А война в Сирии. Сирии. Раньше, что вы думали об этом? Я хочу слышать от вас. What do you believe about the Syrian war? And the Russian involvement? Was it for the good or the bad? So Zelensky and Jolani, and some people bring the two names up. It's like the similar, they are the same puppets, right? And Russia is the only legitimate leader, right? For many decades, the only legitimate leader is Putin. And just like Netanyahu, Putin cannot get arrested anywhere. Why is that? He's so special. Why is he special? Because he serves Israel, right? If he didn't serve Israel, he would have been gone long time ago. Putin wouldn't have been in power if he wouldn't be good at speaking, and if he didn't serve Israel secretly, he wouldn't be in power. So there are twists that they deliberately play in our minds so that they make us think, oh no, no, this is the bad side and then this is the good side. Tricks. Politics is about tricks. They play on our minds. So Russia is the good guy and Ukraine is the bad one. So, and Turkey is the bad guy and Russia is the good guy. This type of argument, Turkey is the bad guy and Russia is the good guy. We get to this topic. Why would Russia be backed by Israel? Because actually the Turkey supports Ukrainian territorial integrity. That's a key point. Why would Russia be supported by Israel? Because Turkey supports Ukrainian territorial integrity. That's an important point. Russia doesn't support Ukrainian territorial integrity, right? Israel doesn't support territorial integrity of its neighbors. The similarity. Israel would violate Syrian territory just for gain. So Russia violates Ukrainian territory integrity. So Russia and Israel go hand in hand for the Middle East, reshaping the Middle East. And you guys believe the propaganda machine on RT, Russia Today. I'm sorry. Yeah, you believe them that no, Zelensky is the evil one, or jihadist Zelensky like Jolani. They are the bad ones. But Ukraine's mineral resources go to the hands of USA, and USA is a supporter of Israel. So Russia is destroying Ukraine for the sake of Israel. Put it into your head. Russia is destroying Ukraine for the sake of Israel, okay? Period. It's just this. Извините, I'm sorry, but this is the case. Russia is destroying Ukraine for the sake of Israel. And we believe otherwise. No, it's Ukraine is the bad side and Russia is the good one. We are fooled big time because Russia gets favored, because Israel wants to get favored, okay? Israel wants to get favored on every occasion. It's very smart. Israel is smart, Russia is smart as well. So this equation that, yeah, Russia gets favored, in the Ukraine topic. And why is it, good news? Because Israel, gets advantage by this. So why Zelensky is defamed is explained, and why Putin is favored, because Israel favors Putin secretly, because he works for them. That's why Zelensky is such a bad person, right? Because Zelensky came to ask for help from Erdogan, and so Israel doesn't like Turkic peoples. The Turkish people, they don't like. It's a lie that, oh, they love everybody in the world, and but they are the chosen nation. But Russia treats its minorities. You you have only one option to be accepted in Russia: assimilate. Otherwise, they fight with you, like with the Chechens and stuff. So, similarities between Israel and Russia. But you don't think this because the news blurred this topic, and the propaganda says, oh, Zelensky is evil, when actually it's Israel supporting this war. And yeah, Putin has been in power for decades, and he cannot get arrest warrant, in the sense, the arrest warrant is like meaningless for Putin because Israel supports Putin secretly. Nobody who works for Israel can get, any kind of questioning because they get the backing, a powerful backing of, their masters. They get protection. So that's why Putin is, your favorite. That's why his videos, if I put a Putin video up on YouTube, it gets like tons of likes because Israel, supports him. It gets a lot of likes because no other way. It's the reason. So they fool you. And maybe Israel is one persecution for themselves. It's the prophecies, they want this Armageddon, big war sooner. That's why they messed up Syria, the Israelis, and all that. Strange mindset. They even find themselves enemies. They hurt their neighbors, Lebanon and Syria and all that. And then they are surprised that people are angry at them. If you wage war against your neighbor or bomb your neighbor, wouldn't your neighbor have the right to be angry at you? Likewise, the Ukrainians can speak Russian, but Russia bombed the Ukrainian, cities and all that, and the Ukrainians feels upset. And so, but then you say, no, the Ukrainians have no right to be upset. Same as Israeli mindset. You treat your neighbor crap, but you expect them to still be your servant. This is how you want to get their money, and all that, you attack them and you want to take their money. It's the same mindset, Israeli and Russian mindset. It's the cold-hearted. They don't look at you, they don't regard you as a human being. You are a slave to them. Russia treats people like this, and Israel too. And that's why, I had been to Ukraine once, briefly in Kiev in 2019, and how much I miss the place. But sadly, the country is being destroyed by Russians and Israelis. And I can't help. And Zelensky is attacked. He is blamed for everything when actually it's Putin. But Putin is backed by the Israelis, secretly. Putin helps with this war. He helps the Israelis. So treat your neighbor crap and expect them not to say a word but just to submit. Yeah, the whole country is yours, and please, master, do whatever you want with us. This is the Russian and Israeli mindset. It's very painful. So Yeah, I don't know. I don't care if I get killed for this video and what I said in this video. And if the Russians hate me and abuse me and send me mocking comments, yeah, that I'm an ugly whatever person and yeah, whatever. So yeah, this is the mindset of the chosen people and their masters and stuff. And sadly, the countries all fall before Israel. And Zelensky is hated for what? He is a Turkic person who is trying to fight for sovereignty of his country against his powerful neighbor country, Russia. And he is hated for that. And why? I can't understand. Thanks for comments. I don't know where you are from. I can't understand, but it's a sad topic, you know. Uh, what some I don't have any suit dress as Zelensky. Yeah, again, people commenting on Zelensky's appearance is like, by the way, do you believe a person who is, you know, perfect looking, like, you know, a gentleman more? Do you believe that person more? Or a person who is humbly dressed? So, like, Putin is an angel just because he wears a perfect suit. Is he an angel because of that? Or he is just somebody who serves a propaganda, you know, good, you know, propaganda. Zelensky is you know, natural in, you know, it's, you know, the superficial things. It's Israel has the superficial things and the Russians like the superficial things. So if you criticize Zelensky for, you know, oh, he doesn't wear a suit, and Putin wears a suit, does it make Putin a better person? Does it really make him a better person? No. Just serving a good propaganda. That's all it makes Putin. If he wears a suit, it doesn't make him a good person necessarily. You know, so this stupid argument that Putin wears a suit and Zelensky doesn't, it's not a legitimate argument for politics. It just sounds stupid, you know, argument that, oh, Zelensky doesn't wear a suit, so he's a bad person, and Putin wears a suit, he is a good person, he's an angel. Bullshit. I mean, stupid argument. So the humiliation, Israel can humiliate anyone who goes against it. That's why Zelensky is humiliated. So Putin doesn't go against Israel and he is not humiliated, but Zelensky is. Let that sink in. Why is Putin admired so much? A servant of Israel. But in a cover that, oh, he is for Palestine. Then why did he fight the Chechens and all that? Why did he fight Muslims before Putin? Why? If he is for Palestine, guys, anybody would remember this time? Then if he were for the Palestinian Arabs in the Middle East, he wouldn't fight Muslims, you know, the Chechens before. So this doesn't add up, right? It doesn't add up to me. So Putin is, oh, he's for Palestine. Lie, lie, lie. Oh, and Zelensky is the bad one. No. Yeah, interesting topics. Uh, Sorry, I don't know what language do you understand. Instead, there's somebody who's commenting, what language do you speak? I don't know. A control mechanism. Somebody is writing. Yeah, I mean, Putin is he has good masters. Putin is educated for this topic to be a servant of Israel. He was chosen for this job. Putin was chosen for this job. No coincidence that he is in power for decades, and the arrest warrant doesn't work for Putin because Israel is backing him, just like Netanyahu doesn't get anything because he has a powerful lobby behind him. Yeah, powerful lobbies behind these people. Putin and Netanyahu, right? They have powerful lobbies behind them. Powerful lobbies behind Netanyahu and Putin. Yeah, that's why it explains a lot in politics where they stand. And what correlation has Syrian war with Ukraine war? And who is on which side? So Russia is on Israel's side, and Zelensky is on the Turkish side against Israel. And Crimea, why is it a topic debated so much? So, yeah, why this topic? Yeah, the Turkic people has to be discredited. Therefore, Zelensky is discredited. And yeah, I feel very sorry for him that, everybody goes against him, but it's Russia and Israel which is destroying him and his country. Because every country has to be submissive to Israel. Every country has to be submissive to Israel. This is the mindset of the state of Israel. So Russia is just used for this purpose. And Russia is going to use its leverage against Turkey one day. Russia is going to use its leverage of power against Turkey. If Russia stands with India, then Russia is standing against Muslims. If Russia stands with India in case of a new Pakistani-Indian war, if Russia stands with India, that means Russia is against the Muslims. So Russia is fake when it says it's for Palestinian people. It's not. It's not for the Middle Eastern people. So fake, fake, fake. So, it explains a lot. Russia is not for who you think they are for. Very smart to deceive you, but they are not for the Middle Eastern people. They work for Israel. So Russia would support India against Pakistan, and Pakistanis are Muslims. So Russia would be against Muslims. It means. So yeah, Russia shows its real side in subtle forms. Russia shows where it stands. And you still don't see it. Who is the good guy? Who is the bad guy? You still blame the Turkic people and insult them. Oh, lower class people, And you praise the Russians and all that. You praise Israel. You support a chosen nation that wages wars in the world just to maintain its power, you know. Russia is just, you know, used in this case. We are being deceived. Wow. We are being deceived, and we can't even understand how we got deceived this bad. I was thinking, yeah, Russia was the good side, and oh my god, but Russia would stand with India against the Pakistanis, you know, the Muslims. So Russia doesn't care about Muslims being killed in the world. So Israel doesn't care either. So Russia and Israel go hand in hand. And you still hate Zelensky? You still hate Zelensky for what? He doesn't wear a suit and you hate Zelensky. Give me a break. He's a person, you know? He's a human being. But the Russian side discredits him so much. Israel discredits Zelensky so much. Why do they hate Zelensky, the Israelis? Because Zelensky gets on well with the Turkish people. So yeah, Zelensky got you know, got respect from me for fighting a very difficult war against Israel and Russia. And you all think that he is a bad person. He isn't, but he got insulted so much. And you know, when your country is taken away from you and Israel and Russia leads your country, it's not a good story. You get to be submissive, you know, you have to be submissive, no other way around. So Turkey is also in danger of Russia getting power, more power. And the nuclear power plant is built in Turkey by the Russians. So history doesn't tell me anything good about the Russians, I'm sorry. The Georgian war, the Chechen war and all that, I'm scared. I'm scared. I live in Turkey and I'm scared of Russia's huge influence in this country too. Not only in Hungary, huge Russian influence and Israeli influence, but also in Turkey. It's not a good story. But I can't do anything. So I'm worried. I'm concerned about the so-called future. That what are they going to do to us? Because we are not the special people, not the chosen Israelis, and you know, not their collaborators, the Russians. You know, they would do something against us. And my video is not about hatred. I don't mean hatred, but I'm just trying to see things from, you know, the big picture perspective. Like, yeah, why these wars are happening and what is the correlation between these wars and why do they occur, and to see who is on which side and why. And so what is eye-opening is when you seek information and you connect the dots, you know, there are little pieces of information and you connect the dots. The first Jewish Republic during Soviet times, in 1931 in Birobidzhan in Far East Russia, and the creation of Israel in 1948. Okay, connection. And these wars, the Jewish lobby loves wars. reminding you that the Jewish lobby loves war. So it suits them, the Jewish lobby, when there are wars in the world, they get richer and richer. The Jewish lobby gets power. So Russia is helping them. So the Chechen wars, the Georgia war, the Ukrainian war, the Syria war, all the Russians help Israel, you know, clearing the path, clearing the path for Israel. Russia is doing that. Russia is doing the dirty job for Israel. Undercover. Great. And you guys think, oh, Russia is an innocent country and Ukraine is the bad one. Oh, Ukrainians can speak Russian, by the way. Most Russians cannot speak Ukrainian, okay? So I'm just saying, you know, the propaganda machine works. The Russians have a lot of money to convince you that they are the innocent ones. Just like Israel has a lot of money. Israel has a lot of money to convince people that they are, you know. But somehow when Russia does the propaganda, it works better than when Israel does the propaganda. Russia is more successful in convincing people that it's innocent than when Israelis try to do that. Interesting. When Russia does propaganda, it works better when Israelis try to do propaganda. Isn't that interesting? I find it interesting. So, what to say? Yeah, Russians and Israelis, they share something. They share mindset. The mindset is working on, you work for them, you are a slave to them, you assimilate to them, and that's it. Not much emotion, not much feeling for you. It's the mindset that's similar between the Russians and the Israelis. So why these wars give us a clue about, you know, the sides in history. And Russia has always helped Israel. And Ukraine is a victim. Ukraine is a victim in enduring war. And Russia is using its power against its smaller neighbor. Similar like Israel is using its power against Syria. Same type of thing. Israel, okay, I go once again saying this argument. Israel is hurting its smaller neighbor in terms of, you know, Israel has air superiority and it bombs Syria. Just like Russia uses its power to bomb Ukraine. Same mindset, Israeli and Russian. They both abuse their neighbors. Israel abuses Syria and Lebanon. Russia abuses Georgia and Ukraine. Same mindset. And you guys still say that, oh, Russia is, you know, oh, innocent. No. Russia and Israel have similar mindset. Both treat their neighbors shit and want to subjugate their neighbor. Fact. This is a fact. That's why it's very scary that such people are in power and nobody can stop them. It's very dangerous when the world is ruled by such people. Those who abuse their neighbors, they are not Christians, they are nothing. No Christians, no Muslim, no whatsoever. They are bad people. Simple fact. If you abuse your neighbor and bomb, your neighbor country, that's, crime. Israel does it, Russia does this crime too. So propaganda machine tells you that Ukraine is the bad one when Ukrainians can speak Russian, but Russia wants to subjugate Ukraine. Israel supports the abuse. Israel supports Russia, that it can use its advantage against Ukraine. For what? This is for money. So Russia is no innocent, just like Israel is not innocent either. The main argument is this. Sadly. But the propaganda machine tells you, oh, Ukraine is bad, and so like Russia is good and Israel is good. This is the argument. So you are fooled. It's the power maintains its defense mechanism. It maintains power by using these tricks to subjugate you. All of us, we cannot say this, So think once again why Zelensky is humiliated, because he is not a Jewish lobby doesn't like Zelensky that much. Israel doesn't like Zelensky that much because he gets on well with the Turkish president. So Russian President Putin hates Zelensky. Why? Because President Putin is servant of Israel and Zelensky is not. The main reason why this war, Israel wants the resources of Ukraine. So Zelensky is on their way. It's an obstacle for them. That's why they use the Russian president to remove Zelensky. It's wicked. It's wicked what the Russians do. Israel is empowering this to occur. And we can't do anything to stop, innocent Ukrainians dying for nothing. Stop Israel and stop Russia. Somehow, I don't know how, just think about these topics and the Syrian war. And think of the argument I said. Some people call Jolani, Shara, the new leader of Syria, as similar to Zelensky, president of Ukraine. So think of why this argument goes and circles around. And why is the Russian president an angel? Why is he so good? Because Israel, he's working for Israel, so that's why he is an angel. And nobody can arrest him because his masters protect him. That's why Putin is so special. That's why you believe in him. That's why you call Zelensky bad and all kinds of things. And Putin is, he is such a leader and, all that. Because the Jewish lobby is behind Putin. Very smart move. But if you think of the mindset of Israelis and Russians, you find similarities. You can find similarities. Both treat their neighbors shit. They abuse their power and money against their neighboring country. So Israel abuses Syria and Lebanon and all that, and Russia abuses, Ukraine and Georgia and all that. Same mindset. And the roots, they have some connections. The first Jewish republic was established in Far East Russia in 1931 in Birobidzhan. Israel and Russia, they share a lot of things. But we don't see it this way. They deceive us. No, Russia is for the Palestinian Arabs, the Middle Eastern suffering people. Yeah, I believe that. How nice arguments the Russians come up with. If only I could ever have a discussion with a Russian, like face to face, like, hey, tell me all those things about the Chechen wars and the Georgia war and the Ukraine war and the Syria war, your involvement, Russian involvement. Tell me about it. I would be interested in hearing your story. Пожалуйста, пишите мне об войне, которая Россия, how to say, Russia has fought these wars and why. And don't tell me, oh, Russia was the innocent, weak one that it had to fight to defend itself. Gosh, Russia has Israeli backing secretly. So don't you think that a country which had the first Jewish republic established in the Far East Russia during Soviet times, don't you think that they would ever go against each other? Russia would go against Israel? No. It would go against its similar, like-minded type. Power is very important for the Russians and so for the Israelis. So this topic is depressing, but yeah, for me it's very depressing. As I live in Turkey and I see Russian leverage over a lot of things, and I see how Zelensky is hated on the media platforms, and I'm concerned for Ukrainians that their bigger neighbor Russia is subjugating them so much. It's concerning when power is in the hands of evils. It's very concerning when the power is in the hands of evil people, and you can't stop evil. That's why in the world evil hasn't stopped, because something enables the bad things. The evil is enabled. Russia is enabled to attack Ukraine. Nobody stops Putin. And ask yourself the question, why is he not stopped? Because he works for Israel. Israel is attacking its neighbors, Lebanon, Syria. Who stops Israel? Nobody can. Nobody can. So Russia and Israel cannot be stopped because they work for each other. Period. They work for each other. And all of the rest of us are subjugated, and what can you say? You have to worship Putin and whatever, because the propaganda machine works well. Wasn't it an interesting live? Oh, sorry. I'm from Hungary, sorry. I missed the question by one of the commenters. Yeah, it's Vengri. But yeah, my home country has Russian and Israeli influence. So no, great story, guys. Yeah. So stop Russia and Ukraine. Oh, I mean, this war, of course, stop. But what I mean is that stop Russia and Israel. If these countries were stopped, then there wouldn't be such wars that much anymore. As long as we enable these countries to wage wars, there's no chance of peace. There's no chance of peace when you enable somebody to wage wars. Stop them. Stop Israel and stop Russia. And the world wouldn't have that many wars if they were stopped. We wouldn't need to deal with bad things. I mean, refugees are a result of Israel's and Russia's actions. Refugees. Those people deserve a better life than that. But yeah, Russian propaganda machine is working well because Israel is, they are smart to rule over people. Russia is smart and also Israel is. So they can rule over many people and deceive the world. They are good at that. So nobody can challenge these people because they have power. So Putin can do anything and he goes unchallenged. So great. Sorry. Salam. Merhaba, nasılsın? China. China. Sorry, I didn't talk about China well. It's an interesting topic. Well, I think China, despite it has supposed trade wars with the USA, and USA is a servant of Israel, still I think China is for Palestinians is still a fake argument a bit. Just like Russia is for Palestinians is also a fake argument in a way. So because if China were for the Arabs, then the Uyghur Turkic people in China, they wouldn't be treated in a different way, So like they are treated in a different way. So so these arguments that Russia and China are for Palestine is fake, because then the Uyghur Turkic people in China wouldn't be treated in a different way. So it's not a genuine argument that they are for Palestinian or Arabs in the Middle East, Neither China nor Russia. So which is the only country that doesn't really like Israel, and which country has fought with the Russians before? Turkey and back then the Ottomans. So that's why the Turkic people, they don't like the Turkic peoples. So it's just a simple story. The Turkic people are not really submissive. The Turkic people don't like what the way Russians treat them, or the Chinese. So the Chinese also want submission from their subjects. And so this submission this submission is expected from the Chinese as well. So same mentality. That's why the Turkic people are treated bad in China. excuse me. So like Russia and China and Israel, all these countries work for the same course, the same cause, same in a different way, but they work for Israel. So that's why the Turkic people are not their favorite ones, because they don't have the same mentality. Turkic people don't have the same mentality. I don't want to abuse my neighbor. I I don't want to abuse my neighbor. For example, the Russian mindset, like using their power against their neighbor is wrong. I don't have that mindset. Um, but the Russians have that mindset. And the Israelis too. They use their power against their neighbors. So just the difference between the Turkic peoples and these, I don't know, why this coldness and bad things exist, because there are people who allow it to happen, and nobody stops Russia or Israel, and this is why this is happening. Think about what I have said. Think about what I have said and why. And it's concerning that the propaganda machine works so well. My videos about Putin get more likes than any of my other videos. It's because Israel enables Putin and his propaganda. And my videos are worthless because I'm a non-Jew and I don't work for Russia, or I don't work for Israel. So I don't get advantage. So yeah, anyway, this is what I thought to share to you, and think about how Zelensky is abused. So yeah, how think about why Zelensky is abused, how Russia humiliates him, and Russia is not a good neighbor. Russia is an abusive neighbor to Ukraine and Georgia. And sadly, the power Israel and Russia have, they subjugate many people, so you can't do anything. So yeah. Think about why some people are in power for decades and other people are removed quickly, or they are told get out because there's a reason. Anyway, thanks for watching, and this was for this live, and yeah, whatever you think about this topic and the Soviet times, and the deception that the Soviets were against religion. Another deception, because the Jewish find religion important and the prophecies to be fulfilled important, and the Russians enable those prophecies. So it's a myth that Soviets were against religion. It's on the surface. On the surface, they were against religions, the Soviets. But the Jewish and the Soviets together, they still secretly work. And to this day, Russia and Israel still work together secretly to fulfill the prophecies in the Bible. So yeah, just it's a fake cover that Soviets were against the religion. Fake cover. And So Soviets were in, well, the Jewish still control them, the Soviets, and Russia is controlled by Israel. Anyway, what do you think about this? Take care. Let me know in the comments. Bye.